What up, everybody? This is Barbell Jerks Podcast, episode 32. I'm Ralph.
And I'm Hans.
And Jamie Still.
We have Jessica Aelvoet.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Hey,
You
see,
got
I
it
didn't
right.
butcher it, bro.
There you
You did
go.
all right. You did all right.
I didn't butcher like frowny.
Frowning, rich sad
We
face.
still need to make those shirts.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Hey, this is kind of a pretty special episode, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
Ain't this the one that we
This is
same amount of recordings than with the other crew, right?
Is
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Different.
So suck it, other crew.
Jamie, thank you for waking up early, taking beer.
Yeah, it was so unfortunate today. I didn't work out. I was too tired.
I saw Pam's thing, and you were pretty
I was passed out. On the
pretty
chair.
passed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they got those mats there.
Cool. So we have Jess here. How you doing today?
Doing good.
Good.
Yeah,
Got a workout in already?
I did.
Multiple, I heard.
Joining us.
Multiple?
A couple. Yeah.
A couple. What?
Showed up early and did a workout with 2 other people. Then we're here for the 10 o'clock, which was also a 3-person team.
Saturdays are for the teams.
Mhm.
So what time did you get here today to do
Yeah.
that first part?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
and I was here till just after 11, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I wanted to sit down with you and kind of get your backstory on how, not only backstory of what you do as a police officer, right? You're a police officer?
Yes, sir.
Not a detective?
Yep.
Oh,
So,
congrats.
Not only that, but
That's awesome.
exactly how you got into CrossFit and how you were introduced to it.
Okay. So the way it started, I was actually going to... Let me back up a little bit. So I've been athletic all my life, played basketball. I went to St. Mary's. I was on their basketball team. Didn't play, but I was on the basketball team.
That counts.
Dude, on
That
the
does
team.
count. So athletic all my life.
Yeah.
Got into the police department and kind of let myself go, if you will. And so for our first few years there, got pretty lazy. It was on the kind of the single person shift.
Yeah.
It was easy to wake up whenever I wanted to, eat whatever I wanted, went to work,
Yeah.
went out at night, and started it all over again. So once I finally realized the shape that I had gotten or let myself go, I started working out, just going to like a Gold's Gym or something like that, Planet Fitness, local, and then ended up at a Krav Maga. I don't know if y'all have heard that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, over by
Is it
Crossroads.
Israeli fighting systems, is that what
It is, and so I didn't do too much of the fighting portion of it because they also have more of the cardio and the classes and the kettlebells and different
Is that
things
the
like
one on Fredericksburg?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
Gotcha.
there by Crossroads.
Next to the buildings, yeah.
So I was doing
Oh,
that for
nice.
probably, and they're very police friendly, and they do have the self-defense part of that, which I would get into, but the majority of what I was doing was the fitness stuff. And then there's like a bag class, punching bags, different stuff like that. So I was doing a bunch of that. I had lost a good amount of weight, got back into reasonable fitness, and was feeling comfortable. But one of the guys that I work with, Chris Infinger, who is one of Marco's very good friends through the Air Force, he kept telling me, hey, come try CrossFit. He was a coach here at the time. And I don't know, a couple months later, finally I took him up on it. And I walked in a Lone Star, and I haven't left since. So,
What year was that?
let's see, I think August of 2012.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Damn, it hasn't been. That's not too far back.
This is what, year 7?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So my 7th open.
Okay.
So, 7th open. Okay.
Yeah, so this was my 7th open. Yeah, so 7.5 years, more or less.
So after you came into Lone Star, was it a competitive atmosphere like it is now, or he was just starting? I know Marco's been, it's been since 2008, I think. 2007.
There's a
Something
debate
like
going. I mean, he'll tell you 08, some shirts say 09, some say 07. Who really knows? I think it's 08.
Yeah.
I think you have verified it at one point in time. It's an affiliate, so there's
Yeah.
there's a document on it somewhere. But he was at a couple different locations, and there's still currently people that go here that have been here longer than I have.
Oh, really?
I'm kind of one of the OGs, if you will, but there's some people here that have been,
Damn.
have 1 or 2 years on me, 3 years, who knows.
Yeah.
But what was the question? Sorry.
I said when you got here, was it already as competitive as?
Yeah. I'd like to say so.
Yeah.
There was I know that there was a female athlete that was here who had just previously made regionals, Crystal Howard. When I came, though, she had just gotten pregnant, so I didn't get the opportunity to really train with her too much in the competitive aspect of it. But still getting to be around her, there were a lot of competitive athletes at the time in that sense. And then Marco always held the title of being the fittest games champ, and that's always kind of a running joke. But he won it apparently the first year that they had it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't hear that?
What?
You never heard that before?
Well, I know that he's been, but
Yeah.
I didn't know it was the first year they had it.
Oh, he went to the wrench?
He won it.
No.
The fittest games
Oh, the
experience.
fittest games.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
I think they
gotcha.
had it in their gym downtown. If I'm not mistaken, the first one.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken,
Probably so, because the
Yeah.
first one that I did was at their gym, which was
Oh,
at the downtown
yeah.
location. Yeah.
I think that's where they
Prior
had it
to it
at.
being-
Prior to it.
Nice. Do you remember your first workout?
I don't. I have no idea. I know a lot of people can recall, oh, mine was Fran or mine was this. Or that. I have no idea. No clue.
You know, a lot of people say Murph was the first one.
That
Yeah,
was mine.
not for me.
That was mine.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot you said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dumb workout to start with, but
No, this
Couldn't
was
tell you.
this was the first box my first introduction to CrossFit was here at Lone Star as
Okay.
well. And I remember back in like 2012 or 2011, I came in, I was doing some leave from Afghanistan, and Stephanie wanted to do CrossFit again, and we lived right down the road, so we came in and we did it here. And I actually knew Marco he was the cop at our apartment complex. So when I walked in, I was like, hey, and he was like, hey. So I did it here, and there was monsters here back then too, man. So it's always been crazy here.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's always had that rep.
I think it has, and I think that Lone Star is known for the competitive athletes, and it does pull a lot of people over here to try and become more competitive. But I think there is a misconception, because a lot of people also assume, oh, I can't go to Lone Star until I'm in shape, and that's not the case. There's a lot of people here who are just your everyday mom, dad, maybe not an athletic bone in their body, and they walk in here, and we have a big crowd of that as well.
I think that's everywhere in CrossFit. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people, I'll hear them like, I was like, hey, come try it, and they're like, I'm not in shape yet. I need a little bit more. And honestly, that was me at first. I'm like, I don't want to try it until I, lose so much pounds, and then when I do that, then I'll come in, and then I regretted it, because
Right.
I could have
Yeah.
been way better shape a year before or something.
Right.
But a lot of people have that.
Oh, let me get in shape before I go start CrossFit. It's like,
Make
no,
any
you
sense.
couldn't. Right. It can be anything opposite than that.
Yeah, you
It's,
can modify any movement.
right. Right.
Yeah, because I'll tell them, and then I'll show them. I'll be like, look at this guy. I mean, he's running and he's doing. I mean,
Quit
he's
using
trying to
me
get
as
there.
an example, bro. Look at this guy right
If
here.
this guy can do
Look
it,
at JB over here.
if this guy can do it, you can do it.
So after you came in to Lone Star, I guess what was the first competition that you actually did?
Oh, well, better yet, how long were you training in the CrossFit modalities before you started competing, essentially?
Better question.
So, growing up in all different sports my whole life, I've always been very competitive. I wasn't here very long, and then we were already jumping into it. One of the first ones might have been at Helotes CrossFit. It was a team, I believe, of... It might have just been me and another female, Holly. I'm trying to think. It was either a 4-person team. I take it back. It was a 4-person team. So it was 2 guys and 2 girls, and my double unders were horrible. I was back to doing, single double,
Yeah.
and Holly could beat me in that, and so I relied on her for doing all the double under stuff. And there were some sled pushes and some kettlebell stuff, nothing too technical. And we went in and we did that one. And I don't remember how we placed, but that was probably my first one, which was pretty quick into doing it. I wasn't. Oh, I was in CrossFit for 6 or 8 months before I tried to sign up for my first one. It was probably, I don't know, a month later.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Within the month, yeah.
Ooh. Some cojones there to get.
No, not so much that. I think a lot of it was I was already in shape.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily in CrossFit shape, and I didn't have all the CrossFit movements necessarily. But back in 2012, the level of athletes was much different too.
Correct.
So if I was overhead squatting 85 pounds, I was doing really well.
Yeah.
Versus now, those are your numbers for just a regular workout.
Mm-hmm.
So
high rep workout too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Lightweight.
Oh, yeah. That's nothing. Yeah, nothing, right?
I lost my question.
You lost your question.
I had my question in there.
So did you said you came in August of 2012, so you came after the open, right?
Yes.
Yeah, after the open, and then 2013.
So
was-
2013, yeah, February 2013, that would have been the first open that I did.
Yeah.
And I ended up qualifying for regionals. Had no idea what that was about.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was looking up your stats, and I was like, man, like from the get go, like you've already had just been, light years ahead of everybody else. Made it to the.
I did pretty well pretty quick. I was naturally very strong.
Mhm.
So, for example, my ring muscle up, I got, but it was kind of like this weird version of strict / kind of kip-ish, get myself up there, and that came pretty quickly before.
Still don't know what that feels like.
You'll get there.
But then the bar muscle up for me took forever to get, and actually learning how to use a swing and use a kip and be more efficient with things. I just kind of strength my way through a lot of stuff, at least as much as I could get away with.
Yeah.
My biggest weakness was always the overhead stuff. So like a squat snatch or an overhead squat. The regionals that I first made, there was a 3-rep max overhead squat.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there starting off at probably the lowest thing that you could start with,
Yeah.
which was, I think, 85 pounds. And I might have gotten 115 for 3 reps. And I've got Jen Jones stacked up behind me, I think hit 195 for 3 or something like that. And it's just like, oh my goodness.
Was that here
I
in
couldn't even
town,
fathom
or?
that. I couldn't squat clean that. I
Yeah.
mean, that was like a deadlift for me. It was here in town. Yeah, it was at the
Alamo.
Freeman Coliseum, probably, right?
It was at the Freeman Coliseum.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Usually had them there when they had it here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
So what? I was going to mention what was your biggest weakness, but you said overhead. What about gymnastic wise? What was your biggest weakness in the beginning?
Probably handstand walks if I had to pick one, and chest to bar pull ups. Once I,
Mine too.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Same.
It took me a long time to get the butterfly down, and once you get that, once anyone can achieve that, it just makes the move so much
Yeah.
easier.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Have you captured that moment?
Butterflies.
I think you
chest
did,
to bar?
right?
No, I can get maybe 2, and then my fat ass gets.
I mean-
tired.
It's the rhythm of it all, and just trying to rush it and just kind of getting thrown off.
I
and
hit my
once-
chest too hard against the bar.
Okay.
So I'm just like 1, and then it's like bang, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Ah, all
and then
right,
it just
down."
jolts you right back down. Oh
Throws you
yeah.
out of rhythm.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
So after a couple of years here, when did y'all start getting more of a competitive team here at Lone Star?
But you made regionals for.
Yeah, well,
How many years did you make regionals, Jess?
Oh.
I lost count. Too many.
7, 6, 5.
5?
Yeah.
5. If this was my 7th one, because this year was kind of a no-go.
No go. Yeah.
I'm
a regionals
one
athlete
year
this
yeah.
Got the shirts, bro.
We all are.
Got
We
the
all
shirts
are.
made almost.
No, I made 13, 14. I missed 15. I had a back injury in 15 leading up to that.
Now hinder.
I'll blame it on that, sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was out probably for about 3.5, 4 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Until I could get back into it, and that was it was only prolonged and delayed because I was too stubborn to not do anything.
Yeah.
And then of course working with a duty belt, and I was never off my back. There's not anything that you can do that doesn't involve your back. Even though I
Yeah.
tried to okay, well I'll just do body weight stuff.
Yeah.
You're still using your back.
Yeah.
You use your back to sit up out of bed. You
Yeah.
know, it's just I never let it fully heal. And then at work, I was a part of a training course that was 2 weeks, so I didn't have to have the duty belt,
Mhm.
and I didn't work out, and I didn't do anything. And once my back had that 2 weeks, it was like, okay,
Much better. You're
Thank
like,
you.
Oh yeah, that's
Thank
what
you.
rest does to the body.
right, right. I learned it the hard way though. So what could have been like a month and a half turned into maybe 4.
4.
Yeah.
And then how did you injure? Just back squatting or?
I was sore. I remember I was in my garage. I've got a decent setup at the house, and I was doing
Better
some.
than decent.
I had a pretty legit setup at the house. I was doing some lightweight deadlifts,
Really?
and they were bugging me, but I was stubborn and I pushed through, and it's lightweight. Why, maybe 105-pound deadlifts, just high rep stuff.
Yeah.
And it was burning and not feeling great, but it's
Get that
stubborn
mentality of
and
just push through.
you don't quit and you don't listen to your body, and you know, you learn your lessons after the fact.
How I
So
feel every day. Everything burns and hurts.
there's doctors for that.
You just gotta go, bro.
Steph makes me go. So.
Are you from San Antonio?
I am born, raised San Antonio. The majority of my family's here.
What high school did you go to?
Antonian.
Antonian.
A little private.
Hey, Gio. How you
Private high
doing?
school.
Oh, Gio.
What are you doing, buddy?
I told Gio if he wanted to get on this podcast, he'd have to come in the office, and here he is.
Making a guest appearance.
Him and AJ had a good one.
Killing wasp.
Oh, no, just cleaning equipment.
Cleaning equipment.
So where is this high school at? I never heard of it.
Antonian is not too far from Lee High School,
Oh, okay.
but just outside of 410.
Okay.
So 410 and West Avenue.
Did they change the name, Lee?
Yeah. Now
Liz.
it's the.
Oh, yes.
it used to
Sorry, now
be
it's like
Robert.
L-E.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
It used
It's
to be
still
Robert
Lee,
Lee.
but it's like abbreviated.
Yeah,
L.
you know what it is. Like, there's no getting around it.
Put a couple periods in
That,
between.
that's
and
pretty
now you're
clever
okay.
though,
Really?
because like they literally were like, "Well, we're gonna change the whole thing," and then they just abbreviated Lee too. So it's like, I was like, oh,
Really?
shit. Yeah.
It's dumb.
It used to be Robert E. Lee, and then everybody just chopped it up. So it was cool. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool
Yeah.
when he announced it.
So, been to regionals. Been to the Super Bowl of CrossFit.
Yes.
The games?
Yes.
The games.
I was like, I haven't been to the Super Bowl yet. No idea.
You're like, wait a minute.
and when are we going?
The Super Bowl of CrossFit.
I have. So I did regionals 13, 14, 15 missed out. 16 we went team, and that was the first time that Lone Stars put a team in. I believe in 15 we missed just outside the bubble to make team.
To make team.
So 16 we went, and that was a 6-person team. It was a lot of fun, different. 17 I think kind of was my year. I really felt like physically I peaked. That's the year that I qualified as a master athlete.
Yep, what we call that.
So going into regionals, I had opted. Oh no! So let me back up. So I knew I pre-qualified for the masters portion of it, and then it was time to make the decision if I was going to go team in 2017 or if I was going to go individual. And I was just feeling good. I definitely had peaked at that point. Strength, dramatic, like everything was just on. Had a pretty in-depth talk with several of my teammates about the decision, whether I should stick team, but then told them that I was really had a strong desire to go individually, and they all supported me with that.
That's awesome.
Because I knew that pulling my scores from the team would sink our team leaderboard, and it did. They ended up being one slot out of that. Yeah. So when
only
individual,
one slot.
I know.
Man.
I know. Thanks, Jess.
We could have went to the games, but I mean, you did pretty awesome. I was looking like, so what was the hardest workout of the 17 games for you?
Games or regional? I think so. Regionals, I went individually.
Yeah.
I think what played to my benefit there is there was no barbell.
Yeah. Oh, that
At
was
all.
a year. It was the all dumbbell, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There was not a single barbell at regionals, and I ended up placing 7th, which was crazy for me because the other 2 years that I had gone, I was like 28th.
Yeah.
Huge difference, right?
Yeah.
Almost scared me because I almost was on the edge of like qualifying individually, which hands down I don't want to do. What those athletes have to do there is just insane. So 7th, I was really, really happy with.
Yeah.
Then going to the games, the hardest event as in the Masters division.
Yeah. The
The
one that you
swim.
were just like the
The
run,
swim.
swim, run.
Yeah, I suck at swimming. It's not something that I ever trained. It's not something I ever had to train or needed to train. I mean, I can swim from here to there. I can float in a tube and drink some beer, you know.
That's easy.
That's
but when
about it.
Yeah, but when it comes to, and 500 meters, you say that to someone who can swim, and they're like, oh, I'll swim a
Yeah,
mile.
it's
It's no
nothing.
big deal. It's all about technique, form, staying patient, breathing.
We did 200 on one competition.
It's
I died.
horrible. It's horrible,
200
isn't
meters,
it?
dude. It was like,
Yeah,
We're
I've gone
done.
I've gone to Golds and just done like a couple back and forths, and I'm like, nope, fuck this, I'm done.
it was horrible.
But as you continue and stay with
Yeah.
it, Aubrey here, one of our athletes, she swam in college, and so she would give tips and
Yeah.
different things like that. A couple other people would provide some help, and
Yeah. Yeah, and see, like I would
Shout
like,
out to Aubrey.
yeah, shout out. I would not know, like, am I doing this right? And like, I know that your body's supposed to be kind of parallel with the
Right,
ground, and you
right.
kind of, but
yeah,
Stephanie-
she would. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Steph swam as well, and then she taught children how to swim. So like when we used to go, she'd be like back and forth, and I'd be like drowning.
What the fuck? We gotta interview Steph, bro. Like, where the hell did this come from? That's crazy. So his wife, do you know his wife?
Yeah,
Steph?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So one time we were
Jess used
eating.
to coach us at CFSA a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Well,
Yep.
we were eating, and then she's like, "Yeah, graduated as a fashion designer." I was like, "What the fuck? Like, how?"
And I can swim 3 miles at
And
a
I
time.
came 3 miles. I was like, "Oh, damn, pretty interesting."
Yeah. No, just coached Steph and I daily at the CrossFit San Antonio on mainland.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, for a long time.
What year was that? I was trying to remember.
I don't know, maybe like 15 or something.
It had
15, 16.
it had gotten sold. Marco bought the guy out.
Yeah.
So he had it over off of mainland.
Mainland, yeah.
And then switched it over to where it's at now, 410 and Evers.
And Bandera, right? Mainland Bandera.
Yeah, it was Jess, Luke,
Mhm.
Chris, and
Yeah.
Holly were the ones that were always there coaching us
Yeah.
at the time. And I remember watching you and Holly at the regionals that year.
Laura.
No, Laura, excuse
Laura.
me. Laura Poling.
Yep.
Yeah, excuse me. Laura Poling was there as well. They were the coaches there.
Oh,
Marco
shit.
owned both of it, yeah.
Nice.
I remember
And-
watching Jess and Chris do Olympic sessions, and it was nuts.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah, he was.
Oh my
He was really
gosh, his
good.
technique.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow.
But yeah, so we'd watch them, and then Stephanie at the time wasn't the athlete that she is either now. I was still fat back then.
Yeah. Are you sure? Because I've seen pictures of you like.
Oh, that was no, that was I can't like when I was in Afghanistan, I
Yeah.
got into shape again, and then came back, ate tacos and beer in San
Yeah.
Antonio, and then got fat
mean,
again, and then just
When you're back
We
home.
are a pretty
it's a
obese
never-ending
city.
cycle.
Yeah.
Life happens, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear a
Ups
lot
and
about
downs.
that run, swim, run workout. Like,
Yeah.
it was just demolished a lot of people. Was it kind of like the individual side where hot out the gate on that first half a mile run, a mile and a half run, where everybody bolted out of the gate?
I didn't.
No?
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I got to the swim and I was exhausted, I was going to be even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
see. Yeah.
it was just a reasonable pace on the run,
Mhm.
and then do what I could to survive the swim,
Yeah.
and then run as fast as I could to get back, I
All
guess.
Awesome.
But fast forward, and for the swim, so I remember as I was swimming, there was buoys out there,
Mhm.
and every buoy I came to, I was holding on to and just trying to breathe. And oh my gosh, this is horrible! And what I got myself into. There was 20 of us in our division, and I got 18th. So I guess I beat 2 people.
Yeah, hey, you didn't
So
come
there you
last,
go.
right? That's something to hang your hat on.
Yeah, but that was the very first event, and there I am.
Was
and
that
I'm
a
by myself,
ocean
and it's
swim?
like no,
That was
thank
a pool
goodness.
swim.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't a pool; it was a
A lake.
Lake? Okay.
Yeah, it was a lake.
I know that's terrible too. Like jumping into a lake where it's not clear, it's murky, and then all you feel is feet next to you, and you have no idea what's going on. People are kicking, trying to get past you.
So by the time we got to there, the space wasn't bad.
Okay.
But what was bad, and they had, I don't know what they're called, but the seaweed. So if it was 4 feet, the seaweed was all the way to the top.
Oh.
But they have these
Shit.
boats that they would mow it out,
Uh-huh.
I guess. And so they had done that a couple days before, but it was still pretty thick. And you're swimming, and it's in your goggles, it's in your hair, it's in your eye. It was everywhere. The people weren't the problem. That had thinned out by that
I
time.
don't like going into the river or lakes if I can touch the bottom because it's gross and I have no idea what's down there. I'm like, it's icky.
Yeah.
It's icky.
It's
I'd
icky.
rather. I said that the last time too when I fell in. I'd rather go into the ocean any day.
Heck
Really?
no,
Yeah.
not me.
And saltwater though, and sharks.
Yeah,
and
exactly. You don't know what's out there. In the lake, you know.
The lake. So the portion that we actually swam into, you could touch the bottom for a decent amount of ways out there.
But
Really?
if the bottom's rock like canyon, I'm
No,
fine
it
with
wasn't.
that. That's
It was
disgusting.
slimy and
Yeah.
slippy, but you know what? I was safe and I could walk
I would've-
and I could touch the
I would
ground.
have got right back out.
Like those memes of those little kids like freaking out and they're like, just stand up.
Stand
And
up.
then the water only
Oh,
comes
yeah,
up
I
like
see
not even
those.
waist deep.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
It's
okay,
not-
I'm fine.
It's not kids. That's the entire Marine Corps swim call at boot camp.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Oh my
hilarious.
gosh.
No shit.
What, is that the one where they have to kind
No,
of...
it's just basic swim call. There's people freaking out. And they can't stand. They can stand up, and everybody's just laughing at them.
That's awesome.
Mentally, what would you say it's a big because you done both. You done as an individual or masters individual and as a team mentally into the games. What's the difference?
So it happened kind of back to back, right? So the first year was individually as a master, and then the second year was with the team. During and this is going to sound pretty bad, and I've probably only shared this with a few people, but during the games by myself, I was there by myself. Aaron Bielefeld was also out there, so I would see him here and there. He goes to ballistic.
Yeah.
He qualified as a master, and then Pillar was also there. So I did know a couple people, but for the most part, I was there and by myself. And it's a very long, 5 days or whatever it is. You know, and you go into it. I went into it ranked 4th, and there were certain workouts that I thought I would do really well at that I didn't. You know, the one example I give is Diane. That should be my jam. It's deadlifts and handstand push-ups. I can do that all day long. Great. I'm short. It plays to my advantage. I'm like, I am just going to do so well at this. And I think I got 10th at it. It's like half the people beat me at the things that I'm really good at. It's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? You know, I think that I put certain pressure on myself more than anything else. I didn't have really the outside pressure. Everyone, my family, my friends are always, you know, always so proud of me. But then it was just this internal pressure that I put on myself. So during it, it was very hard. At night, I was tired. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Are we at the last day yet? Oh, this is so rough. I was probably pretty difficult to deal with. And then going into the last day and the last few events, it was kind of like the pressure lifted up off my shoulders. And then a few days later, after everything was over and done, maybe a week or two had kind of processed, once you step back and realize the environment that you're in, the stage that you're at, it's like, Jessica, this is the top 20 in the world. So I've already proven myself to myself. I should have, not to anybody else, but more myself. And then to realize where I was and who I was competing against, who I was competing with. We are talking the best in the world. And to come out 10th, it's like, that's something to be absolutely proud of.
But I think in the moment, I think with you being so competitive and any competitive person, I think that's hard for them to do.
Right.
Because you always want to be at the top or, you know, be better. And if you think that you can achieve more or whatever, you know, you're not realizing that what you said, hey, I'm with the top 20 people in the world.
Right.
So I think any competitive person, I think that'll be difficult for them to do.
Yeah. Like Diane, it's like, well, that's also everyone else's jam too at that level. It's like, oh, okay.
I saw you took first in a workout, right?
I did.
Nice.
I did. And so, you know, it's little stuff like that. The same year I took first in 17-1, which was the only in the South Central region, not in the worldwide, but in our region, I took first on that, and it was the snatches and the burpee box jump over. Oh yeah,
my back hurt for
like
about 3 days.
Oh yeah,
definitely
and
not my jam.
I stayed away from it for as long as I could. I did a drop in at a box a couple months ago, and that's the first time I had done it since. It just so happened to be programmed. It's like, all right, fine, let's do it.
How'd you do?
45 seconds slower.
Yeah. That's
But
still
hey,
right there.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So what I was saying, you know, you said that I got first in one of the events. It's like, stuff like that is just, no one can ever take that from me.
No.
And, you know, 17.1, top at South Central, it's like, that's mine.
Yeah.
You know, that's my claim. I can have that. It's like, hey, this one time in the open, I got first in the workout. It's like, that's so cool, right?
Well,
and then at the games, I got first in that event. That was my world record to have, right?
Yeah. For those of y'all who don't know, let me just pull up the event.
Come on, stat guy.
I'll send an email to CrossFit Central and make sure they don't reprogram 17.1, so it's always yours.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Right? It was bar fight.
Well, there's no more regionals set up.
Yeah.
Bye-bye regionals.
True.
So it was 50 chest to bar, 40 toe to bar, and 30 clean and jerks. Do you remember the weight on the clean and jerks? Maybe 95?
No, it was 125. It was heavier.
Wow.
125 maybe,
And that was at the games, pounds?
if I had to guess. That was at the games.
Yeah. And man, I can't just imagine that feeling of stepping up on that little like platformer
So we
thing.
didn't have that in ours. We were in the
you were in the
the
second
H group
room
area, and but there's finishing mats.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, and you can look to the side and like, nope, no one else is on there but you. That's awesome.
Well, the coolest part is, so there's announcers in there announcing as it's going, and I was not at the front ever until the very end. And so they were back and forth the whole time on multiple different athletes that were well ahead of me. And once it came to the cleans, that's where I really made up some ground. My barbell cycling was just significantly quicker.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I think I stepped on the finish mat and they're like, "Oh my goodness, someone's done down here. Where did this just happen?" And then the camera comes over to me and it's like, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
And one of the girls, sweetheart Stephanie Roy, she's the one who won our division that year. She came up to me after. She's like, "Where did you come from?" I had no idea where you were, and it played to my advantage that they didn't say anything about me because no one really had an idea of where I was. You didn't have time to look around and try and figure out what rep people were on. Even though you advanced your barbell every 10 or whatever the number was, you still don't know where exactly they were.
Yeah.
And I finished maybe one rep ahead of whoever was second.
Yeah.
in it.
And then you were
So-
going toe to toe with like Becca Voigt. in
Yeah,
that.
Becca Voigt and Kristen Clever.
Yeah. Oh man.
Becca
those-
Voigt's a
She's-
beast, bro.
Clever's the one who won that Diane. I remember she was starting her, so it's 21-15-9 of the deadlifts and the handstand push-ups, and she did all her handstand push-ups strict, which are take half the time as a kipping does.
Yeah.
And so she was doing her 15 deadlifts, and I'm halfway through my handstand push-ups, and I'm like, what did I just get myself into?
do you really have to try to focus like, okay, blinders, I'm gonna do the best that I possibly, but I mean you probably can't help but like peek around to see where everybody else is at in the workout like that.
You get a feeling at least for who's kind of to your left and to your right, and
Yeah.
you can hear it, but for the most part it's just go and focusing more on where I know I can push or not push,
Gotcha.
or if I need to turn on the gas, or if I have any gas left. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of being like first on the finishing mat, it is nice, Hans, because when I finish the workout and I'm watching you run back there, it feels good.
Running workouts, yeah, you got that.
It feels
Yeah.
good.
Hans, get out the way, Gio. Try to get some.
And then 18, y'all qualified as a team, right?
We did. Went into regionals. So the guys, Casey and Gio, both qualified.
You
Could
can
have
see-
gone individually.
You can
Oh,
see
okay.
Gio.
And I also qualified. Well, I would have qualified. I was just outside the bubble, but I did get an invitation because some other girls, I guess, had gone team. I think Casey was the same way. And I messaged them.
Jeez.
Say hi, Gio.
What's up, guys?
I messaged both the guys individually because to make regionals on your own and to go and compete as an individual is few and far between, and
Yeah.
it's very something that you should be proud of.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not something that you can necessarily achieve again in the future. So I wanted to express to them both, guys, whatever decision y'all go with, do it.
Mhm.
Whatever you are feeling and want to do it. I will not be upset or mad or anything. You do you. You know,
Yeah.
just like I had done me the year before.
Yeah.
And they both said, nope, we're in it for the team. And
awesome.
so we ended up solidifying, the four of us, me, Casey, Gio, and Joss, and invested in a worm, which really, really helped.
Yeah.
Because when we went to regionals, you could really see the teamwork play off on the worm. And
Oh, yeah, big time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got it knowing that we may or may not see it, but even if we didn't see it, the communication,
Yep.
just learning each other, being patient with each other, being okay with going, whether the slowest person had to go a little faster or the fastest person had to go a little slower, and not getting frustrated or upset with each other. It really helped in all of that. So it made us better as a team. But we did see it, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Would you say that happens no matter what, no matter how close of a team you are, you're still going to get frustrated with your teammates at time? And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm,
Yeah,
I'm probably
for sure.
one of the worst, to be honest with
Heard.
you. Casey is just totally go with the flow and put everything on the line. Joss is the same way. Gio is the same way too. Really, if anyone was snapping at anyone else, it's me, and there's video footage to prove it.
Yeah, sometimes I see on your Instagram, like, way to help out the teammate, Gio. And then, he's just standing there like, come on, pick up the worm already.
Yeah, there was a time at regionals when me and Joss were doing chest to bar, synchronized chest to bar, and our rhythm had gotten off. The judge had gotten off. No. The rep sheet repped us, but our rhythm was still on. So I wanted to keep going. In my head, that made sense. But before we ever started, I said, hey, if we get off or get a no rep, we're going to drop and reset. So she stuck to the game plan. Jessica didn't, because I felt that we were ready to go. And so there's a video clip of me like,
Come on.
kind of waving my arms at her and what are you doing, and she got upset with me, and she expressed that to me, which is really good too,
Yeah.
because she was new to the team. She's significantly younger than what I am, But to be able to just kind of speak up and, hey, Jess, that hurt my feelings where we were at with that. And it's like, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. But being able for her to communicate that to me and not just like keep it into herself and then blow up at me or saying, hey, I'm out, you know? So we the four of us were able to all communicate with each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't even talk to Steph when she's working out. And she's not even competing for anything.
It's hard. It's hard, but we just had the right chemistry for the four of us. And there was no doubt that the four of us were giving our all at every point. It was good. It was really good.
I heard that a lot. Just going back to warm, that everybody says, a lot of podcasts say that is a team builder and a team. Like if you don't get that down, that's so much of a communication, like you said.
Yeah.
That if you don't have that, you can tell who did it and who didn't in the workouts at regionals or at the games or wherever, or even at workouts or sanctionals now that we have sanctionals. But
oh yeah, for sure. Like you'll see that drop. Like maybe someone in the back is like needs a rest, and you'll see them drop it, but they didn't communicate to the other people in the team, and then you'll just kind of see it snake off, or it's getting hold on somebody.
Sagging over here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's out of your lane, and then you're dragging it back in the lane, and
yeah, I can see how it just not communicating with that part just would be extremely frustrating.
Have you seen the other ones that they make?
Which ones?
They're 2-partner ones.
The
shorter one?
Yeah, two and three. It's crazy. Yeah. I was like, man, I should buy one.
I can't imagine how big that thing would be for back when it was
six.
Yeah, 6 people.
This was a 6. We just took out 2 sandbags, and we trained with it the way the other 4 were for regionals. But at regionals, it was heavier than what this one was, because this one was all 6 were different weights. At regionals, both women's sections were 70 and both men's sections were 100.
Oh, okay.
So we amped this guy up for the games because it was definitely heavier there at regionals. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Talking about regionals, how was that feeling when y'all know y'all are somewhere? Because I think y'all came in 5th, right? At regionals,
We did.
How was that feeling where you're waiting for y'all's names to be, either announced or not announced?
So it wasn't that close. Going into the last day, and I remember it's like, oh my goodness, we're gonna do this. I mean, short of just really screwing this up on the last day, we had pretty much kind of punched the ticket already. And the last day played well to us. It wasn't anything that was really going to hurt us too bad. And so going into it, we knew where we stood. We knew what we had to do. So we knew we had qualified prior to them announcing it. It wasn't like, 1 or 2 points difference from us in 6th place.
Yeah.
We knew we were there. We were actually just short of 4th, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Who got
that
4th
was pretty close.
that year?
Well, funny you asked that. Salt Lake City had 2 teams, so one of their teams took 4th.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
Fast forward, though, one of them tested positive. Doping.
Was his last name Gerard?
It wasn't. No,
Well-
it was one of the females on their team. I'm not sure who it was. So ultimately, we were 4th,
Yeah.
and then the 6th place team was technically 5th.
And was it the 6th place team their other team? Because they had 2, right? I thought it was 4th, and then the other one came in either in 6th or 7th or something. They were up somewhere in the top 10.
I
Salt Lake
think there
City.
might have been a total of. No, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So how does were y'all guys? I'm sure y'all were drug tested.
Yes.
How did that work? Did they drug test y'all right before, or just as soon as y'all take the picture for the podium? All right, all y'all.
That's exactly how it was. Yeah,
Really?
The top 5 teams, we all got pushed back. They gave us, food, drink, snacks because we had just eaten, but you can't,
Yeah.
talk with anyone else, communicate. Well, you could talk, but you couldn't touch, pass, anything, back and forth. And basically, they just kind of did a lottery and picked 2 athletes on the team, a male and a female.
Oh.
So I think Joss and Casey or Joss and Gio. I'm not sure. It wasn't me. It was Joss.
Gotcha.
So.
Nice. I always wondered how that would be like. Maybe since the whole Ricky Garard thing.
Well,
back
his
then-
brother too, right? That's what y'all were texting me last night. I
Yeah.
was like, "What the hell do these guys bother me? I'm
I
playing
was
video
texting you
games."
about Ellie.
Ellie, yeah,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
About
Yeah.
what? I don't know.
Ellie,
One of the mayhem
Cadber?
girls.
Yeah.
Girls.
One of the blonde girl who
I
was
saw a
on
picture y'all
Independence.
sent. Yeah.
Yeah, she got popped. So I watched the podcast, and it was billionth of a gram of whatever substance,
wow.
Clenbuterol.
which leads to tainted meat.
No, it's not so much tainted meat in America unless she was in Mexico.
No, she was in
She was in
Iceland.
Iceland.
Oh, well, that's possible. Yeah.
So, and then she also said that she wasn't feeling well, so she had her husband or whoever is their team guy
Bye, Gio.
had them go to a drugstore, pick up some, ibuprofen or some kind of pain meds. Zinc. Yeah. And, she can't read all the ingredients in there, so she's
But
thinking,
she did take responsibility, 100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's crazy. Can you imagine, you're going to Asia, or somewhere crazy in, Cape Town where you may not even know.
Or you can just not be an athlete like me and enjoy that.
Take all the tainted pre-workout and tainted meat.
That happened to Canelo too, supposedly. But
Yeah.
clenbuterol is a cutting agent.
Mhm.
Helps you drop weight, and as well as it can affect your cardiovascular, give you more air because it's used for asthma, like people with severe cases of asthma,
Mhm.
or horses who have
Wow.
asthma. So it
Interesting.
opens up your bronchial tubes.
So it can.
Me being the drug expert again. Look at
Right,
that.
yeah.
And that's
Our
what I
resident-
want. I told Chris, I gotta go give Jamie on this, like, because you know more about it than
The resident
than I do.
PED
Yeah.
user.
So
PEDs,
one thing talking I was listening to the Talking to You Fitness podcast, and one thing I heard was Tommy Marquez say that sometimes, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, that sometimes the ingredients on any supplement, sometimes that ingredient doesn't pop up in USADA or anything, and then but that ingredient could be an ingredient for something else, and it doesn't show up. So when you report it, nothing shows up, but then you get popped for it. So how did that work?
A lot of these supplement companies, supplements aren't regulated by the FDA. So you can put anything you want in the supplement and only list so many ingredients. So just like who was your Chani Banani?
Oh yeah.
She was
Chantel?
taking a supplement that wasn't on the. Oh, I think it was on the ingredients. The methylene. What?
I just go ahead.
Yeah. And then it's on the USADA list. But most of the stuff that you get, like at GNC or Complete Nutrition, it's unregulated stuff. And then after a while, that's why the stuff that really works will come off the market, because they kind of figure out, like, hey, well, this Halo Topper, I believe it was something like that at the time.
Ice cream?
The ice cream.
No.
I was like,
Oh, no.
You're like, wait a minute.
it's like ice cream.
I was just remembering,
Oh,
or
shit.
just like the Jack 3D, like
Yeah.
everybody was on that, the dimethylene and stuff like that. Like, hey, this is probably something we should regulate, and we're not going to let you have this anymore. So they had to revamp the formula, and Jack 3D is crap now. But at the time, it was like, it hit you hard, bro.
Everybody would say that. Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask you too. It's just crazy how that shit works.
So it's happening. They can put it out on the market, and then after a while, people are starting to get results. There's more stuff
It's
going on,
$500.
and then they're like, FDA's like, hey, well, let's see what's really in this, and then it's like, whoa, guys, you can't do this.
Yeah.
$550 a sample to
yeah.
test it, bro.
Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
So let's just say like you get your pre-workout. It's $550 to test that pre-workout.
Oh, yeah,
and then another $500 to test your recovery, and another $500 to test. Like, how many supplements would you take now?
Now?
Yeah.
Not nearly as many as I did.
Okay.
So when I was back in 16, 17, I was taking all sorts of, I had my pre-workout, I had my post-workout, I had, I was adding some powder carbs, I was doing the vitamins that had 9 pills a day, I was doing some greens, and I mean, just everything individually on their own, really good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fish oil, you name it, right? But then in totality, once I actually like listed out what I was taking and kind of put myself in check on that, it's like, holy cow, you're putting a lot of stuff in your body. And my kidneys and my liver numbers for a little bit showed that. But I didn't realize it for, a couple years until I got some blood work done.
Yeah.
And my kidney numbers were high and concerning, and they kind of had maintained that. And so I came off of everything. So now I'll do like a 1-a-day vitamin if I remember it. And I'm still doing my pre-workout. So that's really
No protein post-workout.
I do at nights. I use a kind of a protein. I make a shake out of it as my dessert.
Yeah.
So
Some milk, bananas.
yeah, because I'll do macros. So if I'm short there on the protein, I'll do that.
So that's like $3,500.
But that is crazy.
Test
Yeah,
it.
if she had to, if
If she had
Jessica
to do
had to
that.
test everything that she was taking, because
Oh, yeah.
you never know
Yeah.
what they're putting in.
Yeah.
Were you super conscious about, making sure that everything was in line as far as, making sure everything was drug free at that point?
So yes, I was sponsored by Rocks for the 1 year that I went to the Masters as an individual athlete. They had sponsored me, and I expressed to them, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the competition that I'm in. I cannot have anything that would be banned substance in any capacity whatsoever. And so I got with them, and we looked at the things that I was using. And so I had this pre-workout, and it was fine. Cool. One of my good friends here, Corey, was also working for them and very educated on all the supplements. Sounds, how you can sit here and rattle that stuff off. He was capable of doing the same stuff, right? And so I had him. I said, what about this one? Is this one okay? Yes, it's good. And that's what I was training with. That's what I was using. So it was a pre-workout and then protein powder.
Yeah.
I was good. Well, the night before I'm leaving for Wisconsin, he sends me a message and he says, hey, Jess, that has, and I don't remember what it was. It has this in it. You can't take it. You can't take it in competition. So
Okay.
you can take it outside of
Yeah, there's
competition,
a lot of stuff like that.
but you can't take it in competition.
Really?
Yeah, like marijuana. If you're in a state that's legal for marijuana, like say California, and you're a fighter, you can smoke.
Do whatever you
all
want,
the
yeah.
everything you want. But the week before, you gotta have so much metabolites. You can't be high in the ring, essentially. So you can cut it out the night before, but so the metabolites are going to be a little less. But you can't be so high that they know you smoked right before
Gotcha.
you went into fight.
Makes
So
sense.
There's out of competition stuff, and then in competition stuff as well.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
I'm flying out early the next morning, and this is like 8:30 at night, and he's telling me, hey, by the way, that pre-workout that you have is a no-go. So I'm
Like,
freaking out.
Deep in your bag.
What the
too.
hell
It's
do I
like-
do? Like, okay. So ran to Vitamin Shop and got the C4
Okay.
because I've seen multiple games athletes who are sponsored by it, and it's like, well, this has got to be safe, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I ended up using, and so that's what I use when I end up in competition like that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So C4, go get your.
I would
In
imagine that all the work
competition.
was done on those.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, 'cause
like,
they're so
like Brooke Wells,
sponsored,
for
yeah.
example, I would always see her all over it. It's like, well, she's doing that.
And now
They know that it's
Matt
public.
Frazier too. So
Oh, see, there
yeah.
you go.
So I mean, if the champ is taking it, then
Right.
it's got to be ultra clean.
Yeah, that's my safe go-to.
You would think, but you never know.
Yeah.
How? Oh man, like I thought about that as soon as that news came out. Like, how crazy would it be if he got, like, knock on wood that he doesn't, like, get popped? He goes off to a foreign country, goes to a local restaurant because he wants to experience the
Sure.
local flavor, and they probably not up to standards on how they handle their meat, and it's got some
It's
stuff
not
in it.
everywhere, but Mexico is really big for that
Yeah.
tainted meat.
Matt Frazier, don't go to Mexico.
I
Don't.
mean, as you will.
We had
Cartel,
some,
bro.
Instagram questions.
Yeah, well, I
Go.
wanted to. I
Okay.
wanted to
Still
still
going?
see you on that. Had one here, and then he said something funny.
Hans?
What,
No, you never did.
What would your team say that is the biggest component that you bring?
I think experience, maybe. Experience. I'm older, that's for sure. I feel it. So I turned 37 on Thursday. Oh my goodness.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or did.
Did.
Yeah.
Happy
belated.
birthday.
Yeah, I'm there already. So the experience, I'd been to regionals. I had played on that level in that capacity. Fairly decent with strategy. We talked a little bit about Power Hour. So that was our third time doing it, and the girls on
Three-peat. Yeah.
three-peat.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. The girls on the team would just, you put it together, okay, and
Yeah.
we'll follow your lead kind of
Same
deal.
team
And
for
they're
3 years?
totally okay with that. The first year, no. Me and Aubrey have been on it all 3 years, but the last 2 years have been the same 4.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. The first 2 years was Laura Poling, and then Andy was on the team.
Okay.
And then the 2 that came on for the next 2 years was Samantha Vera and then Joss from the team.
Okay.
So
Nice.
this time around, I said, hey, what do you want to do or what don't you want to do? And so they gave me their input, and then I just kind of structured the rest of it.
Structure
So
everything else around.
Who,
Yeah.
Who didn't want to do the one that you did, the snatches and burpees, that 3-minute AMRAP?
I mean, 3 minutes I was okay with that.
Nah,
And then the standard on the
dino
burpee,
hell no.
there was
not
no
me.
standard.
Yeah.
I walked over the bar.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And then I saw Pam like, can she do that? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
you're the head judge.
I asked.
Yeah?
I asked and double asked. Yeah,
You're
you
the head
could.
judge.
But it was
You
it
do
felt
that.
weird.
Really?
Like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was walking in the middle of a workout. It was strange.
And we still won, and I was walking.
Mm-hmm.
What we were the heat right before you guys. Were you dying in that corner like we were?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was
It was bad.
It was really hot.
It was yeah, it was pretty.
And y'all did something smart that I thought like, man, we should have done. Y'all, I think y'all bought like an extra fan over there.
One of our guys did.
Really?
Yeah, one of our guys. He was in the 8 o'clock heat, and he had brought it in the morning
Yeah.
with him because he's the sweetest guy ever. Randy. He is here helping. He'll help anybody with
Yeah.
anything, with moving, with cleaning up, with doing all the
Yeah.
things, right? And so there he is putting this fan away, and I'm like, Randy, you don't have to clean at this gym. This is not your gym. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's my fan. I was like, oh, very
Oh.
smart, very smart. Yes, take it home.
Yeah, that fan was much needed in that
Yeah.
corner.
It was helpful, but only if you were right in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
It was bad. I mean,
Yeah.
even when we were going, you were going in and out. I mean, you couldn't get a. I mean,
There's nothing. There was
yeah.
no relief. I was just like, I'm just gonna be suffering for the next, however long I'm gonna be here for.
Yeah,
Looks like your team suffered more because they were carrying you.
man,
Hey, we got third place, fool,
man.
in your face.
They got
we
third
got a
place.
couple care packages already. So we got our cash money
Oh, really?
and in the form of a Visa card. But yeah,
Nice.
got cash for it, and then we got a pretty cool care package from Compete Every Day.
Mhm.
Sent us a mug and some stickers and stuff, and then Barbell Revolution is sending us some swag. I
got
guess
some good
next
stuff.
week
I got some silkies and some t-shirts from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
from Barbell
Yeah.
already.
Yeah,
Silky.
like those. My man panties, they like to call them.
Yeah, you like those.
What was the hardest workout on Power Hour for you guys? Like the one where, maybe it's like, oh,
You know, I think
looking on this one.
You see
So-
that face? They were all easy.
No,
She's like,
no, no.
"Okay, brother.
No, I think that the one that we saved for the end was where it was only the 3-person AMRAP where everyone had to basically be working at one time versus the other ones you could have one work, one rest, right?
Yeah.
Unless there was some synchro stuff, but it was set up to where one athlete was doing work while the other 2 athletes were hanging from a pull-up bar.
Mhm.
2 athletes were doing work while one athlete was holding from the deadlift bar, and it was just very, very grip intensive.
I didn't get to see the RX. I was watching Hans, and then we watched the other girls at the tribe, so I wasn't sure what was the RX moves. I know y'all were doing like box jumps while they were hanging or something like
Yeah,
that.
so it was. I'd probably imagine instead of pull-ups, it was chest to bar
Well,
pull-ups.
we do have her here. She gets that.
Yeah.
Well, so the
I
first
wasn't asking you, Hans. I was just-
Oh, you're looking at me.
the first part was 30 burpee box jump over,
okay.
while your other 2 athletes
Hanging.
held from the pull-up rig, and then the next part was 30 synchronized toe to bar, while one athlete held a deadlift at 105. Ladies, 155 would have been for the men.
Okay.
Then it was 30 synchro chest to bar, while someone held the 105 in a front rack.
Yeah, it was
Correct.
the same thing other than chest to bar and the weights were
No
more.
way. Yeah, we only had to use 135.
And
in that
I
scale.
very intentionally put that at the end because holding anything and being under that tension or hanging from the bar and your grip, it's horrible.
Yeah.
We didn't get to finish it. I think we got a 10th place finish on that one. That was our lowest place finishing. But I very purposefully put it at the end because had we had done that anytime sooner, it would have really affected us for the
Grips
other
for the
workouts.
rest of the workout.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying
That's
to
where the experience comes in, bro.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you
But
go.
that's very, very smart. I mean, you'll throw your grip, the whole workout. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
hour after that. You put it in the beginning.
Oh yeah. That was our second to last workout. Last workout that we were doing was the rowing, the wall ball tosses.
Yes.
And I think the kettlebell swings.
Yes, that one was pretty rough also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that regardless of what order you put it in, it's an hour of work and it's a whole lot of work, so it's going to suck either way. And it always seems like one athlete gets kind of the short end of the stick. Regardless of how you try and arrange it, we did it to where everyone did equal stuff. So I did an individual workout.
Not his team.
No, I know some teams didn't. I know some teams are like, you're the top dog, you're doing all the work, right? We each obviously did a strength. 2 of us did the individual, and if you did that, then you weren't in one of the 3-man.
Yep.
And then we paired up, so 2 and 2, and then of course the all four, we were in all of that. But it was equal across the board ish, I guess, because some of them were definitely longer than others. I think I fared a little bit better. I know Aubrey this year, she had some back to back stuff, whereas Sam the year before, she really got kind of the worst end of all of it. Yeah, but you don't know until you're in the middle of it all. And
there's no way to get around it.
It's gonna happen to somebody.
Yeah, you're gonna go back to back, either from an individual to a 4-person or 3-person, or vice versa. So.
Yeah.
So with that, besides power hour, like what are your strategies to go into a workout? Let's just say for a qualifier or anything like that. Is there a certain like step you do, like analyze stuff, or run through it in your head? Like how do you approach a workout?
Yes and no. I've got to think about what the movements are. I know where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, where I think that I can myself push a little bit harder. But when it comes to the open, I think that, so aside from this year, I repeated every workout, and I would do better because you don't really know it until you feel it. For me, at least. And so if I got done with a workout and, I know I could have improved, I would attack that a little bit differently there. But I would also listen to different strategies that different people would put out and different ideas. And I think a big name of the game that I've learned and been able to be successful with is maintaining my heart rate and keeping it down. Several people will tell me, it's like, it doesn't even look like you were sweating or that you were working hard. And it couldn't be... That's nowhere close to the truth. I'm hurting. I'm breathing hard. I am tired. I am exhausted. But I've learned not to show that, and I've learned where I can push myself and where I probably shouldn't, because I'm not going to be any good if I'm sitting there with my hands on my knees for 30 seconds. So versus pacing it out and being smart and playing to what I know that I can do. And so I've learned that over time, and it wasn't easy. I was that person that would, go super, super fast and then be dead for 30 seconds. And the person who went half the speed is now passing me up because they didn't have to stop.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, and I've done stuff too conservative and too slow. And the one that went hot out the gate is already beating me, and now I have no way to catch up to them. So just with time and learning and, what can I do? Not playing anyone else's game, but knowing myself and what I'm capable of.
Back to experience.
Yeah, experience.
Yeah.
That breathing stuff is, I've always done it nowhere near competitive or whatever, but in workouts, I would always try to do the 3-second hold, breathe in, 3-second hold, and then exhale in 3 seconds. It will calm my heart rate down so much, and I've got it from, people that, I don't know if you've seen like Kenny Leverage and stuff, they'll put tape on their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of what the idea is to kind of breathe in and kind of slow that heart rate down. And it's helped to like at least bring it down and then still keep going and not die, like you said, 30 seconds just, on your knees, just trying to like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my breath again.
My allergies are so bad. I'm just a mouth breather the entire time.
You're breathing out of one nostril.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to survive with tape on my mouth. But I've seen a few people recently doing that also. Yeah.
I wanted to try it, but I was like, I'll pass out. I was like, if this 3-second hold is, pretty fucked up to me. Imagine putting tape in your mouth.
I think I saw someone wearing the mask for Murph. For Murph. No, the full face mask, like a gas mask.
Yeah.
It's like,
the NBC mask. Yeah.
Here?
Like, no
or
thanks.
Those things suck.
I think someone was wearing it here when we had Murph.
Wow.
Did you say
No, thank you.
I didn't do it for Murph.
No,
we had
but-
to do
Hell
it
no.
just to train you.
Yeah.
And like I had mocos all over it. I can't breathe. It's terrible.
In the police academy, I think we ran with it. Or during some sort of training we did it, and I would never volunteer to do that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like
Never.
this, like trying to suck air. So they don't see me.
How long have you been a police officer?
14 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long have you been a detective? Because you're a detective now.
I am. 2. It was 2 years, I think, in March, I believe.
Is there a certain to do that? Is there a certain like years that you have to be in the force to be able to?
There is.
Become a
So you have to test to promote, and that's a written exam. But you have to be a patrol officer for a minimum of 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So you can't promote prior to that. And then once you've been, and then from there, it's every 2 years you can continue.
Oh, okay.
So
That's crazy.
And how would you feel that your CrossFit training has translated over to your job?
In the
Nope.
police realm?
It's an Instagram question for later. You're ruining Clem's question.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
all right.
Uh-oh.
I know we're already
Since
getting
we're
into
on
that.
there, Hans,
Go
put it
ahead.
up and read the question.
Read Clem's question.
So we got a few questions from Instagram.
Oh, we got one that's not from Instagram.
Okay.
Jen Disher.
Okay.
I was at the gym today. She said, "What's in your Topo Chico?"
Oh my gosh! How does she not
She
know?
started-
It's all
she
over the
started that.
It's all over the stories.
Well,
So
she knows what it is, but she was like, "That's a question for everybody
it
else."
is a question because everyone needs to know.
Exactly.
So I can't take all the credit for it. A guy here at the gym, Dom, he posted a picture of what he was eating. Couldn't tell you what it was, tacos or something, I don't know. But I saw his topo and there was color to it. And I'm like, dude, what's in the topo? Because I'm not a real big fan of just plain topo, right? And he sends me just a picture of this Crystal Light. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
Game on, right? So
That's
there
what
I
I use.
go to HEB, grab a couple different bottles of the
Different
Crystal
flavors.
Light.
Yeah.
Throw them in. It's like game changer.
I do it all
So
the time.
if you're ish
Mhm.
on topo, you'll love it.
Yeah.
If you love topo, you're gonna love it even more. It's incredible.
I do it-
You can use Mio or whatever, but Crystal Light.
I do it with vodka Topo.
I've done that too.
Hey, there you
I've
go.
done that too. Hell yeah.
Trying to cut down.
I've seen whiskey. Some people have done
I've
it
never
with
done
whiskey.
Huh.
Yeah, but every Crystal Light flavor, I just tried the mango passion fruit. I think is the
The new one?
Yeah.
I got the one I got the other day was from Arizona. It was Mucho Mango. That was pretty good.
Okay.
Mango.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mucho Mango.
It's spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
I mean, people are really catching on to it. It was funny. One of the funnier ones I saw was at some convenience store or something. There was a Topo fridge full of Topo, and on top of it
Crystal
was
Light.
Crystal Light being sold on
Smart.
top of it. It's like,
Mhm. They're
it's
catching
Hey,
catching on.
where's my money at?
Right, exactly.
I'm ready for Topo to sponsor me, but I
Heck
don't
yeah.
know how that's gonna work.
Topo, you
water
up?
is delicious.
Right.
They've liked my stuff on my stories.
Oh,
Okay.
There you
Awesome.
go.
Stop liking it.
Yeah,
Send me a
Well,
case.
yeah.
Well,
At least a case.
Right?
Just a
Jeez.
case, man.
I believe
Not
it's
asking
owned
for
by
much.
Coca-Cola now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's no longer an independent down in Mexico. It's owned by Coca-Cola now.
Okay.
So, Topo Chico, you listening? Send Jess a
Hook
case.
it up.
Hook it
For those who
up.
don't know what Topo Chico is, it's a mineral water that they get sourced down from Mexico. Pretty good. Use it a lot for hangovers. Topo with lime and salt. Delicious.
I want one right now. All right. First question we have is when or what was the turning point in your training that you felt like you're an elite athlete and that you can kick some ass?
Who's that
That's
from?
from-
didn't say the whole thing.
Huh?
Read the whole thing.
That's what it says.
That's from the
Kick
producer.
the
Look.
fucking ass is what I said.
Look, here we go. When or what was the turning point in your training that you felt you were an elite athlete and that you could kick some ass? It doesn't say it. You didn't put the F word.
yeah.
Hey, bro.
Dang, producer fail.
Womp
And that's from?
womp.
That's from
Crystal.
Monterosso 107.
It's
Oh.
Crystal.
One up.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I don't know if there was this turning point. I guess when I walked in here back in 2012, I caught on to certain things pretty quickly. Certain things that is it
Yeah.
cracked? So I bought, or I didn't buy it. I got a free new cell phone, and within 2 hours, it dropped about that far. Screen cracked.
Did you
Oh,
have a case in it?
Well, no, I just got it 2 hours
2
before.
hours
Dude, I'm anal, but I see people without a case. I'm like, what are you doing?
It was 2 hours. 2 hours. Crack. Done. Womp. Hey, but I had the insurance, so $50 later.
there you go.
Yeah.
Damn
A turning point to where I thought I was elite. I don't know if I've ever really viewed myself that way. I've been very fortunate.
Top 20 in the world, Jess.
I know. And like I said, so going through it, I was too hard on myself. And it took me stepping back and saying, hey, you made it to the big show. Like, be
Yeah.
friggin' proud. Whether you were 10th or 20th, who cares?
Yep.
You made it there.
And it's a hard mentality to have while you're there, though, because
It is, and leading up to it and all of that. So it took stepping away from it to really kind of see that and, be proud. But, a turning point, I've just kind of always gone and done me. And I think the coolest thing about CrossFit is that, so when I first started CrossFit, I would look at all the elite athletes and be like, I will never be there. That is just crazy to me, And I think a lot of people walking into Lone Star or any CrossFit gym the first time say the same thing. Like, oh, I'll never get where you're at, or I'll never have abs like that, or, I'll never get my muscle up. And it's just over the 7 years, I have actually only progressed. My strength has gone down, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, my athletic ability has just continued to just get better. And it's not overnight. It's not even, but it's from 1 year to the next, to the next, to the next. And I'm doing stuff at the age of 37 that I couldn't even think of doing when I was 20. The first time I did like a handstand push-up out of the rings, it's just like, I would have never tried to do that when I was 20 years old. I would have broke my neck,
Yeah.
So I think that just CrossFit in general, becoming more and more athletic, and adapting and learning new things and learning new movements. It's really neat, the progress that you can have if you put the time and commitment into it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So,
and that leads
That's the hard part, though. Time and commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That leads right into the next question from Applejacks11 USAF.
AJ.
Yep.
AJ, working a full-time job, how do you prioritize training, life, and work?
Sure.
Goat.
So the last 2 years, I qualified for the games on the two different levels, or two different aspects of it, I guess. And the last 2 years have been really long and hard, and it's taken a lot of my time, and it's almost turned into a second career. I started CrossFit because I loved it, and it was fun, and I liked the competitive aspect and the social aspect of it all. And then qualifying and making regionals, and once regionals was done, it was chill time, enjoy your summer, have a good time, relax, and then ramp back up when the open would come around again. Well, qualifying for the games very quickly, it was very eye-opening to, this is now a year-round thing, and I don't know if I want to train that hard year-round. It's a lot of time, a lot of commitment, a lot of stress on your body, and even mentally. Very taxing. The only time that I would get off was to do CrossFit stuff. My vacations were to go to the CrossFit games to go to regionals, and the person I was with at the time had to do a lot of just kind of going along with the flow, and her time off from work was my time. And so after making it the second time with the team, I had very purposefully said, I'm stepping away from this. Yeah. I had zero intention of trying to qualify this year, of trying to push myself to that level, whether it had been, as a team or as an individual in the Masters division. I just didn't want to do it. I needed to step back. I needed to take a break, not stop CrossFit, but just get back to doing it for fun and really just enjoying it.
Yeah.
And so I had already made that decision, and then they came out with all the rule changes and how you qualify and this and that. It's like, absolutely, it was just kind of like help reinforce that I made the right decision.
Yeah. You're like, thank God.
I was about to ask that, because who was it that we talked about maybe 2 weeks ago that took a step back and who was going to get out of the testing pool?
Lindy Barber.
Lindy Barber.
Did you feel like the changes... Oh, well, you said you already had the idea to take a step back, but do you think the changes, like you said, reinforced it? Like, I don't feel like dealing with all this right now anyway.
I think it absolutely did. I think it made it... Had it have not changed, I think I might have... Do I want to?
Maybe
do I
I'll
not
do it.
want to? I don't know where I want to be. Even though, hands down, I needed to. I needed it.
Yeah.
I needed to step away. I needed to chill. And then that was just like a sign. Like, yes, you do. Chill, relax, enjoy this. And so this past open, coming in here, I didn't record anything. We had the judges, because that's what the open's about. You have to have a judge there.
Yeah.
But I did every single workout one time. I didn't even think about redoing it a second time. I made it in the top 200 for the Masters division. Mm-hmm. So I did the other workouts, but I didn't even do them with a judge. I didn't submit my scores for it.
Yeah.
I did the math after the fact to see where I would have fallen. Should I have had all good reps and should everything have been good, I would have been right at 38 or 39.
Yeah.
Not even a qualifying position, the top 10 go.
Yeah.
But I was very happy with that. I didn't have stress on myself. There was no pressure on myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have to make sure that the lighting was right and is my video okay? And, that takes a lot.
Yeah.
Like Brooke Wells handstands?
Let's go to that. Place the camera way over there.
My handstands aren't a problem. Those haven't necessarily ever been a problem.
There's one more, right?
Yeah, there's one more from Clem. It says, do you have a yearly training schedule based around lifting, gymnastics, endurance, etc.?
I don't. So with the exception of this year, the last I don't know how long it's been, maybe 3 or 4 years, 3 years probably, we jumped onto Misfit. So Pillar CrossFit was doing Misfit, and I saw that it was very, very successful for them, and they did very well. They sent a team 2 years in a row, and I know that training was really good for them. I think before I went to Misfit, I tried, I don't know what other programming it was, but it just seemed like it was a lot of very, very heavy lifting daily. And it was just too much for me. And I might have just jumped in on the wrong cycle or just caught it at the wrong time. I didn't know. But I knew that I needed more than just the hour class to excel and to become better, to program all the crap that I hate, so that I wouldn't cherry pick. Yeah. So started looking into Misfit, started doing Misfit, didn't allow myself to cherry pick. But with that also comes the time that it takes to get through Misfit or really any programming outside of your 1 hour class stuff. And so I committed to that. Several of us committed to that. We all started to see a lot of growth. I think that really any program that you jump on will be successful if you stick to it. And if you have the opportunity to put that much time into it. So I was in the gym for 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours doing the stuff, because you have to warm up and get ready for this one, then you have to cool down and warm up and get ready for the next thing, and then hit each piece with as much intensity as you can, so you can't do that too quickly back to back. So you were in the gym a lot longer than what you ever were. Since the games this past August, I have not done Misfit. It kind of goes to the stepping back and stepping away from it. I've done some pieces here and there with, other people that may be doing it. But I've done the class and I've really enjoyed it. And Gio's programming the class workouts and they're fun and they're good and it still kicks my butt. But I'm doing a lot now with my 1 hour of time and I'm enjoying it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you one of those athletes where I'm going to be warming up for an hour before and mobilize and accessorize, or you're just like, I'm going to do a quick 10-minute warm up and just hit the workout hard?
I was more of a quick warm up, but not necessarily because that was a good thing. So as time has gone, I've realized the importance of mobility, the importance of stretching and cooling down. I got into the ROM WOD, because flexibility is key in all of these things, especially if you were to see my overhead squat, you'd be like, oh god, it's pretty rough. I remember the 2016 regionals, there were some overhead squats and the announcers were calling me on it. You can sit there and watch it because everything's kind of archived, right? And he's like, oh, if she could only get that overhead position and lock it out and this, I'm like, yes, I know. I
have to go back and watch that.
That's me. Oh, it's horrendous, and it still is. It's just, it always has been, it is what it is. But,
hey, we all have some movements where it's like, I don't like that.
My work schedule, I think a big part in all of this too, my work schedule, I used to work 4 p.m. to midnight and usually late. So I'd wake up, I'd do my breakfast, get my chores done. I'd have as much time as I wanted to, and then I'd go into work. So I wasn't exhausted from my 8-hour shift or my 10-hour shift like a lot of people have to do and have to deal with, and coming in here at 6:30 at night, right? Well, my schedule changed at the beginning of the year. So now all of a sudden it's like, well, what is my CrossFit life going to look like? Because I'm getting off, so I work 10-hour shifts now, Monday through Thursday, and I get off at 5:45 at night. So that puts me here at the gym for a 6:30 class. We're done at 7:30. I'm home at 8 o'clock, and now it's just like I'm just trying to rush and cram and get my food ready and get everything ready for the next day, and it's already 9:30 and I'm trying to go to bed because I'm waking up at 6. It's like, holy cow, is this gonna work? And I can't put the extra time in. I don't have the extra time, so that took me a long time to figure out,
prioritize where
right and be okay with just coming in for the hour class, and I'm okay with that now. But it took some time to
adjust to that.
Right. And so I don't have kids, and I don't have any other really outside priorities aside from my dog, so I can imagine people.
Your dog's your kid, though.
He is. He is my priority, for sure. But I can imagine people, juggling kids, picking kids up, taking them to daycare, and, people with other outside responsibilities and priorities in life. It's hard. It's not easy. So
you walking in to Lone Star back in, would you say 2012, you said?
Yes.
what kind of clothing you used to wear? I heard something about basketball shorts.
Is this a question?
Yeah.
Did someone put that?
Yeah.
Who? Gio?
Yeah. Gio said that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So again, back to my baller days, right? Or
Play
my
for St.
my bench
Mary's.
my bench sitting days. Yeah. I mean, I grew up wearing basketball shorts, and that's what I was comfortable with, and that's all I really knew. That if that's the kind of athlete you are, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I came into here in my basketball shorts and my cut off T-shirt. Looking cute, I guess. And so slowly that turned into, okay, well, these shorts aren't the greatest when you squat or when you run or when do all these other things and pull ups, and it's just like maybe not. So those got shorter to more like running shorts or whatnot. But then I still had, if I ever wore tights, I had shorts over them. I was one of those, and I was never comfortable with just like wearing tights or wearing booty shorts. So I went to like a speed short or a running short that had like the underwear underneath, but then the looser outer portion. Yeah. And so slowly those started to turn into, okay, I feel comfortable wearing like booty shorts or spandex or.
I'm always comfortable in booty shorts.
Well, I am now, and I look back at what I was in, and there's no way I'd be comfortable in that now. I mean,
It's too
here
hot.
it's like it is.
Yeah.
It's so hot.
And
Yeah.
then you're trying to squat, your basketball shorts going over your knee.
Oh yeah. But definitely, as each year has progressed, Crystal, she was the one that I mentioned was here and had made regionals the year before I started at Lone Star. She would always comment on it, like, "Oh, your shorts are getting shorter, your pants are getting tighter." Like, "Oh, what are you wearing now?" As the years would progress, you could
Just
see
going up the leg.
the progression, up the leg.
Like those basketball shorts are not handy for double unders for
Oh
sure.
no.
Actually,
A few more questions. What advice would you have for beginner athletes dipping into the competitive end of CrossFit or competitions? Just
Don't be too eager. Beginning athletes to start competing,
just start competing.
or just beginning CrossFit in general.
No, I would
guess.
say competing.
Competing,
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah.
Get in there, whether it's scaled, super scaled, intermediate, whatever the division is. Get in there and do it. You're going to have the entire box supporting you.
Yep.
And hell, every other gym that's there too.
Yeah.
Whether it's by yourself or it's with a partner, and let's say it's a scaled competition. Well, when you podium on scaled, it's time to step it up and move on to the next level.
Do you hear that, people?
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you hear that, people? You podium scaled 4
Yeah.
years in a row.
Yeah, you
Might
keep
wanna
hitting
move
that
up.
podium. It's time to move up.
Up the ante a
Yeah,
little bit.
you graduated. You know what I mean? But don't wait. There's you never know what tomorrow will bring. So
Yeah.
what the hell are you waiting for?
That's-
Go out there
I
and
love
do
that.
it.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
And it relates to that. So now you're an intermediate athlete. What do they need to do to step into like the pro or up to the next level?
RX.
I think that I think putting themselves out there a little more, like in the class WODs, if you're sitting there and constantly scaling, maybe work on not doing that. Take the time and commit to working on whatever weaknesses you may have, whether it's gymnastics or not. Seek out coaching on those. Take some very specific time to work on whatever weakness it is that you may have. If you suck at handstand push-ups, we'll do 50 of them a day. Maybe not 50. I mean, that's yeah. So if you suck at them, start with 10 a day, and then make it 20, and then make it 30. And I tell in the police realm too. I'm in applicant processing, so we have these applicants that are coming to us trying to get into the police academy, and it's like, hey, if you're not great at push-ups, do 10 a day. Wake up in the morning, do 10, do 15,
Yeah.
and 30, 40, and just really work on that one very specific skill. And then once you get comfortable with it, find the next thing. So that's the other thing about CrossFit is that there's so many things
Yeah.
Yeah.
to be good at. And, you focus a little too much on one thing and your other things start to kind of lack.
Yeah.
Keep throwing more. Like I was tearing up skipping handstand push-ups, and now these strict things are in there. I'm like, oh, damn it.
Right. It's just...
Yeah. So we're on comp train, and for the past 3-4 weeks now.
I've done it twice. I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, now we're doing 12 sets, where the week before we're doing 10 sets.
Right.
And, oh, man.
All of them are still, no matter 10, 12, 30, 40%, they're all one for me.
One rep. Good.
That's one set.
Take 30% of what you can do.
30%.
One.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, you know, where each year there's never been this aha moment.
Right.
But each year you progress. Or last year, where, you know, I barely got a handstand push-up.
Yeah.
And then this year in the open, I did 17 after
Right.
doing all that other movement. And
Debatable.
then- Debatable. Were you my judge on
No
that?
rep. No rep.
Like, nope, no rep. But you know, you just kind of have to stick with the program and stick with whatever you're doing and gradually make that progression.
I like that you said that. I think that's really important to compare yourself to where you were, not compare yourself to who's around you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'll never catch up, Hans.
Huh?
You'll never catch up.
I'm
You
doing the
want
best that I can do.
You're competitive. CrossFit is a very competitive sport in its very nature. You want to do better than the person next to you, but at the end of the day, if 6 months ago you could do 3 and now you're doing 9,
Yeah.
then you're winning.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
time. So
It really is though, because I'm not that competitive at CrossFit. I enjoy doing it. I have a good time doing it, but I'm more competitive sometimes. More competitive.
This guy.
Wait,
Wait, we
What
can
was your-
debate this right now.
What was your score, Hans? I beat you in the run.
But
it.
like with the open, that wall balls one, the wall ball and row, it's the first time I've ever did it again because I felt like I was like, well, that was too easy. I
You
could
had
have won
more.
I could have won a lot harder.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you did.
And I did. I did got like 70 more reps. There.
That's
So-
huge.
Yeah, it was something stupid, and I was like, well, I guess I got to push harder this
Mm-hmm.
time.
That's all you had to
Definitely
do.
sandbag that first one.
Yeah.
I've done the same thing too, especially with rowing, for example, because I just kind of like bitch out.
Yeah, I was like, I had this thing mentally. I was like, I know I can keep this pace with the wall balls, and so I'm gonna try to keep this pace, and maybe break up the wall ball 1 or something. But after that, I was like, I did it, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do it again on Monday because it was really easy, and I didn't break up anything. I pushed the rower, and I was a lot happier with what I did.
Yeah.
Even though did I beat you on
The second time you did, yeah.
Second time, yeah. But it just really helps to push. I feel I could care less. Like Hans will beat me in a lot of stuff.
Sure.
But if I feel like I didn't do the best that I could do, it makes it worse. Like if he beat me and I did the best that I can do, oh well. You know
Right.
what I mean? But
Yes.
if he beat me and I sandbagged half of it, then I feel like, well, shit, you gotta step it up a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's vice versa too. You'll beat me in workouts, and I'm like, nah, like I pushed it as hard as I could push it. Like I can't demand any more of myself. So
Yep.
it's like kudos to you. But yeah,
That's what I keep telling. So there's a lot of people that may be interested in coming here. So the really cool thing about being here is there's always someone that's going to be better than you at something. And I think that that's really good to find because you're always being pushed.
Oh yeah.
So I can be a lot better. Aubrey, for example, she can out row me, outrun me, out bike me twice as fast, but I can out ring muscle up her. And so we're going to always constantly push each other on that. And I could sit here and list off all the girls in the gym, what they can beat me at, and then vice versa. And it really just depends on whose day it is and, you know, what the movements are. But to be constantly pushed by somebody different, it's really cool.
I think
Yeah.
CrossFit is probably, I played sports all my life as well. It's the most humbling sport that I've ever done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No matter how good you think you are, there's always something that's gonna humble you.
Oh, yeah.
One day out of the week that you're training. So,
Constantly.
and just like you said earlier, the workouts that you thought on paper, like Diane. There's some days that I'll go into the gym and I see it and I'm like, oh, I got this, and then it's the one that just kicks me in the
Yeah.
dirt, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell happened? It's weird. It's weird
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I had reached out to a couple other people, and a lot of people didn't have any questions, but I guess what I got from what they wrote back to me was that you make people better here, that you are a good example for everybody here, and that you push people, even if you don't yell at them, like sometimes you do. It's more of the way you carry yourself that you have pushed them and help them get better at Lone Star.
That's good to know. I like to hear that. I think sometimes, and I'm working on it, so I can be unapproachable, and it's not purposeful at all. I'll sit here and talk your ear off but it's just how I present myself. And usually when I come in here, I'm pretty serious. And I'm trying to work on that because I don't necessarily need to be.
Yeah.
You know, the last couple years of games and getting all that, it was very straight to business and very a job.
Yeah.
And I don't need to do that anymore, and I'm enjoying it more. So it's just something that I'm personally working on for myself.
That's awesome.
So
I
yeah.
can say from experience, when you were coaching us over there, you never seemed unapproachable to me. You were really helpful with everything we did.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I really learned a lot from y'all
Well, so
back then.
my nickname is Susan, and stressed out Susan. So whenever I'm acting a little off, they'll say, "Hey, Susan." It's like, all right, I'm gonna put myself in check. I'm sorry.
Really
Right.
did.
So
Oh.
if you'll see on my Instagram story every now and then, or some of my posts, I'm like, Susan's left, or bye Susan, or she's gone.
She's in the
or,
building.
Yeah, I was running in Florida. I went for a short little vacation a couple months ago, and I was running, and there was a street sign, and it's Susan. And then right under it, it's pointing, and it says dead end. And it's like, well, if that's not telling me something, I don't know what is, right? It's like, hey, get rid of this, Susan.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like stressing about things that are beyond my control.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Be a happy person. Be kind. Be nice. And just trying to keep myself in check.
I have
So
an alter ego as well. It's Jameson.
Jameson.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a drunk asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes
You
out
hear that on the
occasionally
podcast
on the
every now and then.
podcast.
Every once in a while when they're feeding me beers, I'll be on this podcast.
Well, I never been here for a workout, but I never got that vibe for you. I just remember Dos Amigos, you came and I think you went through, I would say, your rounds and said hi to everybody that you knew, you know, and came back. I was like, oh, man, that's pretty legit. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
not a lot of people would do that. A lot of people would just stay in their camp and then just chill out. But, you know,
Yeah.
you went out and said what's up to everybody. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Sometimes it's more that I'm just not aware that that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I'm just
How was
zoned
it?
or whatever.
How was it doing in the workout? The last workout in those jean shorts.
Oh, yeah. I was nervous, but it was fine. Casey ripped his some.
Really?
Yeah. They were okay for me because they were short, so they weren't getting caught necessarily. But his
Yeah.
were longer,
Yeah,
so
his
on some of
were-
the
yeah.
on some of the squats, his definitely ripped on that.
Yeah.
But-
What was the last workout on that one?
Shit, I remember.
It was
Try to put that behind me.
it was it was 6 total rounds, so we each went 3 times.
Oh, it was
Oh,
the
yeah.
double under and
50 doubles,
snatches. I
10
think?
snatches, and then 10 squats with
Yeah.
the dumbbell.
Yeah, goblet squat. Yeah, that's
Goblet
right.
squat,
that's
yeah.
right.
And
Yeah.
the team that, so I don't know if y'all know this, but the team that we were going against that was second the whole day, they had, I think their time was like 5:32. We beat them by 1 second, 5:31. Had we had tripped on one double under, we went through flawlessly, which for me is saying a whole lot because me and my double under game, not great, especially under pressure like that. But had we have lost that, they won the floater workout, which was the bikes, the 25 cals or whatever that was on the bike. They
Crystal
won
tore
that.
that up.
Yeah. Oh, that thing sucked. Oh, those
She-
bikes sucked.
she got like
Rogue Echo
3
bikes. No thanks.
She got like 3 minutes.
Were you pedaling backwards?
Why am I at 26 cows now? I don't understand. No, but yeah, that's the first time I stepped on that Echo bike, and you cannot get any momentum on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just-
and then as soon as you're done, it's done. Right? It doesn't count over.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
count. Up.
Not as much as the assault bike.
Right. So they had beat us on that, and the tiebreaker went to that. So had they have won that final workout, they would have won the whole thing.
Wow.
I got you. Oh,
I
see.
know.
Dang.
I know. And here we are being fools in
Yeah.
jean shorts.
Jean shorts.
Well, lesson learned, Mr. Casey. Make them shorter. next
Make 'em
time.
shorter.
Make 'em shorter.
So they
You know what?
won't
Just
rip.
paint them on next
Exactly.
time.
Yes.
Cool, guys. I mean, I think we kept her long enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything else you would like to plug or say, Topo Chico?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Well,
nothing.
you
Thank you,
can find
Jess.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. Thank you for doing this.
appreciate it.
We had one at the Fitness Experience, and I always wanted to bring you back and do one just one-on-one. So thank you for sitting down and taking the time. So guys, this is you can find me at Sever Ralph.
El Cool Beans.
And I'm Hans JD_3 on Instagram.
Where can they find you?
Jess_Aelvoet.
Cool.
Awesome.
And you can find us at the Barbell Jerks podcast on Instagram at Barbell Jerks, on Facebook at Barbell Jerks, and everything Barbell Jerks. And hopefully we can put this on YouTube and start doing that too. So
Yeah.
thank you
for
guys.
sitting down with
Thank
us.
you.
Episode
Appreciate it.
32.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.